One of my favorite aspects of Minecraft Bedrock is the fact that they let you edit or modify the game. You can enhance your Minecraft gaming experience through Minecraft add-ons, and even learn coding at the same time. I'm Profe Pablo, Spanish teacher turned Minecraft engineer, and in this series I'm going to be walking you through step-by-step how to make Minecraft Bedrock add-ons easily, so you can have more fun in your favorite game, bring your ideas to life, share your creation with your friends, and take your game to a whole new level. Let's do this. Hey guys, Profe Pablo here, Spanish teacher turned Minecraft engineer. Here we are in the second episode of how to create your add-on. Today we are going to make dollar bills. We need a simple item that doesn't do anything just so that we learn how to add items into the game. And then from there, we will make things a little bit more advanced as we go. Okay, and if you remember last time, we created a pack called My First Add-on Behavior Pack. So because of that, we really don't need to go into our manifest at all. We'll work on our pack icon a little later. We just want to create this item and put it in the game. If you missed that episode, please go back and watch it. The link is in the description below for the whole playlist. And while you're checking out the link in the description below, please be sure to like and subscribe. Okay, so I'm going to open Profe Pablo add-ons. This is the folder we made it that has all of our references because I want to save this manifest in something that I'm going to call templates. So I'm going to go to New Folder and make a folder called Templates. This is where I'm going to be creating my own templates. And then I'm going to go to New Folder. I'm going to call this one Manifests. And then I'm going to copy this file. We're going to go over here, press Ctrl-V to paste. And this is for behavior packs, so I'm just going to call it behavior manifest.json. Or JSON, I guess you call it. Then I'm going to go to my com.mojang folder, press resource packs, and then go to my first add-on RP. I'm going to take this manifest, press Ctrl-C to copy, Ctrl-V to paste, and I'm going to title this resource manifest. And that way I just don't have to go digging through the vanilla files to find it. Not that it's that hard, but remember how we had trouble with the version engine last time? This time we won't have trouble with it because I already saved it in the correct way. So anytime I have a file that I want to use later, I always make a template of it. Okay, now what I want you to do is go to Visual Studio Code, and we are going to go to File, and we're going to go here to Open Folder. Click on your com.mojang folder, Development Behavior Pack, and click My First Add-on BP. Press Select Folder, and you will see that this folder now popped up over here. Then we're going to click here, press Add Folder to Workspace after right-clicking, go to com.mojang, Resource Packs, and then click on My First Add-on RP, add that, and now we have both of our folders with all the files right over here. Now, I could put the vanilla files here for reference, but it gets kind of clunky and confusing for me, so I'm not going to do that. But what I am going to do is go to File, Save Workspace As. I'll go to my Profe Pablo add-ons folder and make a new folder called Workspaces. And inside of Workspaces, I'm going to save it as My First Add-on. Then press Save. And now, even if I close Visual Studio Code, if I ever want to open that pack, I go here to Profe Pablo Add-ons, Workspaces, open this workspace, and all my files pop up here, so I don't have to keep switching in and out of folders as much. It's really convenient to have everything here. So, under My First Add-on BP, I'm going to right-click, press New Folder, And I'm going to create a folder called items. Now, how do I know I need a folder called items? Well, if we do reference the vanilla folders, over here in our folder, go to behavior pack, we'll notice that there's a folder here called items. Remember, our goal is to make a dollar bill item. So everything has to be in the same folder path as the vanilla files, otherwise Minecraft doesn't know where to find your file. So we're going to put our item as a JSON in the folder in our behavior pack called items. Now we do need a template here for items, but first let me explain something. Items can be broken down into two different ways to make them. The first way you don't need experimental on, but they don't have as many options for those items. Those are items under the 1.10 formatting version. In the 1.16.100 version, that's experimental, which is really upsetting because you have to have experimental mode on and you lose access to your achievements. But 1.16 items have a lot more capabilities and you can do a whole lot more with them. But since we're just doing $1, let's use the 1.10 formatting version. So to find an example of that, we're going to open a web browser, and I'm going to type in bedrock.dev, click on the wiki, go to beginner's guide right here, and here they have something called the gem behavior. And you'll notice here the format version says 1.10. We're just going to go ahead and copy this code, go back to Visual Studio Code. Inside of items, we are going to right click, new file. We're going to call it $.json. And then we are going to paste that code right here. Let's go ahead and save by pressing Control S. And now you'll see a bunch of things here that are actually really self-explanatory. We have the format version, which I already talked to you about. 1.10 is a stable version that doesn't require experimental mode on. This is a Minecraft item. The description for this item is the identifier. The identifier is the name that you need to use, so we do need to change that. An identifier consists of two things. It consists of the namespace and then the item name. So we're going to call the namespace $. In other words, this is under the pack called $, and everything that I put under this pack is going to have the namespace $. Actually, you know what? This is called my first pack, so I'm actually going to title it my first pack, just like that. Oh, but no capitals are allowed. There we go. And then I'm going to put $. If I were just doing $, I would have put $. here, but since we're going to be adding other stuff to this pack, I'll use my first pack. Then down here we have components. Components are kind of like the abilities or attributes of an item, block, or an entity. They communicate with the code that is kind of behind the scenes, stuff that we can't see, but we can adjust with this JSON file. So this first component, Minecraft hand equipped, is a Boolean. It could either be true or false, and it tells us how the item is going to show up in our hand. Swords and tools are equipped. This item is not, so we're going to leave that as false. Minecraft stacked by data, for the wiki is set to true. We actually don't even need that. Stacked by data means, for example, stone. Stone with the data value of 0 is stone. Stone with the data value of 1 is something else like andesite. So we're only going to have one kind of $. So I'm going to take this component out. Foil means does it shine? In other words, does it have the enchantment shiny texture? It's set to false, but we could just take it out. Minecraft max stack size is 64, but the default is set to 64, so we could leave that just in case we want to change that later. Items are usually 1, 16, or 64. And then the max damage, we don't even need that. There we go, super simple code for our $. I'm going to press Control S to save it. Know that in the future we are going to be using different kinds of components, but for this example, this is all we need. Now, I do see an error over here on the 64, and that is because a comma does not need to be there. I'm going to take that out, and that fixed my error. Now, you'll notice that with JSON files, you have an open parentheses and closed parentheses for everything. So if I click on this, it connects the two different parentheses with a square. Over here, I have another parentheses. I have to make sure that that's opened and closed. That's the most common mistake. And then I have another one here, and then another one here. And in a group, whenever there is a continuation, like for example in components, I have this one, but I need to say that there's more stuff in this group, then you put a comma. And that lets the code know that there's more to this group of components. Same thing goes with Minecraft item. I have the description in there, and then a comma, which means that I have something else called components. And all of those are inside these two brackets. You'll get used to it. Just make sure that your brackets always have a matching bracket to go with it. Now, I also want to say that I have some stuff turned on here that we need to go ahead and download if you have not. So go over here to extensions, look for Blockception, and make sure that you have this installed. The reason you want this installed is it provides code completion for Minecraft Bedrock. So for example, when I go to my $, if I start typing something, it gives me some options here. That's all from Blockception, so that really helps when you're doing code. Okay, if you see a white dot up here, it means it's not saved, so I'm going to press Control S and save it. And now we have our first item, which is $1. But now we need to see what else we need in here. This is all we need for the behavior pack, but now we need to know what we need for the resource pack. So to see that, we're going to go to our vanilla files, click on resource pack, and in here we need a manifest and a pack icon. We already have that, so we don't need anything else. We are going to need a folder called textures. So I'm going to go over here, new folder, textures. We are also going to need a folder called texts. Now you may be wondering how I know that. That is just from practice, from doing this and messing up a bunch of times. So I have textures and texts. And this doesn't show up in the vanilla because this vanilla resource pack is 1.18. But I am going to need a pack called items. So I go here, new folder, items. Okay, let's take these one at a time. Inside of items, if we go back to our wiki and you're following along with this, which I'm not necessarily, but they do offer great resources with the code. If I scroll down, I see a gem resource file. And we're doing dollars, so we have the resource pack, it's in items, and then it's gem.item.json. I'm going to copy this, go over here, in items, I'm going to do a new file. It's going to be called $.item.json. Then I'm going to paste that code that I copied. Format version 1.10. This is a Minecraft item. Description, the identifier needs to be the same identifier that I used over here in the behavior pack. That's how you connect those two. So over here in the behavior pack, I did MFP $. So down here, and these boxes that pop up are helpful but annoying at the same time. I'm going to do MFP $. The category I want it in is not nature. It's a different category that I want, but let's go see how we can find those categories. So there's a couple ways to do this. Again, bedrock.dev is a great resource. If you go to the actual bedrock.dev, and we are doing items, so you click on items, and you do Control F, you can actually search the page for anything you want, and we are looking for categories. There it is, item description properties category. It's a string, which means it's a text. It's not a Boolean, which is true or false. And here it doesn't tell us which categories we can have. I think that's in another place. Now you can always Google it, so let's Google it. Minecraft creative menu categories. And we're going to do Bedrock because Bedrock is different from Java. There we go, down here, creative categories. Here we go. We have commands, construction, equipment, items, nature, and none. Let's use items. So we're going to go category, type in items. Then we have our components here. Now, this is the resource pack. dollar file, we already did the behavior pack. This is just showing us how it's going to show up in our hand. So the icon is actually going to be something called dollar, which we are going to set up in a minute. And the render offsets is tools. That should be fine. Now our box is telling us that this is not accepted. Valid values would be Apple. Sure, we'll change it to Apple. Okay, I'm going to press Control S. So the first thing we did is we made our behavior pack, which tells us how we want the item to interact in the game. Then we made our resource pack, which shows us how we want it viewed in the game. Now we need to make textures. So going back to our vanilla files, under textures, we have items, but we also have something down here that we need, which is a file called item_texture.json. So what we're going to do is actually take this, click and drag it over to textures, put it in there, and now we have a copy of it right here. We're going to file save that. What this file is this file creates short names for our textures. In other words, Acacia Door is the name of the texture that is found in Textures, Items, Door Acacia. So we're just saying, hey, this is our nickname for this file. So all we really need is this top part in one example. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Acacia Door. I am going to copy it. Then, since this file is so large and it takes forever to scroll, I'm going to go over here to the side and press this little arrow. And that compresses everything under these two brackets. And I'm just going to delete those two brackets like that. Add them back. And then we are going to add Acacia Door. Take away that comma because we don't need that. And we're going to press Control S to save. And now we don't have any more errors. The resource pack name is going to be my first add-on. And the texture is going to be found under textures, items, and we're going to create a file that's called dollar. And the nickname that we're going to give it is called dollar. Now, if you remember back in the resource pack file, let me save this, Control S. Back in the resource pack file over here, dollar.item.json, we said that we're using the icon called dollar. Well, here we're saying we're using it as well. It's saying it can't find it. That's okay. We're going to make it right now. So now you have to choose an art program. There are lots of art programs out there. I highly suggest using paint.net. It's really, really easy to use. I'll be showing different art programs at different times. But for now, if you'll open a web browser and go to getpaint.net and click Get It Now for free right here. And then scroll down. There's actually a paid version and a free version. Just get the free version if you want. Once you install it and open it, you'll see a screen that looks kind of like this. We're going to go up here to Image, Resize to 16 by 16. That's pixels. And if Maintain Aspect Ratio was clicked on, you probably have to click that off. So 16 by 16. Okay. And it got very, very small. So we can either zoom in down here or put our mouse over it and press Control Plus. And here we go. Here's our pixels that we are going to use to make our dollar bill texture. Now, there's a couple ways to do this. One is we could actually just paint by going up here. We need to turn this down to 1 pixel. And you actually have to press this to make it only paint 1 pixel, and we could paint ourselves a dollar bill. But sometimes I have a hard time figuring out how I want something painted. Pixel art is actually a lot harder than it seems. So I'm going to press Control Z to undo that. So what I like to do sometimes is go to a web browser. I'll go to pixabay.com. These are all royalty-free images. We're going to search for dollar. And up here where it says images, I'm actually going to do vector graphics. And that gives us very simple graphics that we can use. Now I've already scrolled through this and found one I liked earlier. I'm going to scroll down. There it is, this one. So I'm clicking on that. I'm going to do a free download, and I can use the smallest PNG. Download that. Press OK. Go up here to where my file is saved and open it. Now, I already have paint.net to open all my image files. If that did not work for you, what you will need to do is open this in a browser, right-click, open with, and choose paint.net, or you can press choose another app and set paint.net to always open this kind of file. Okay, so I have my dollar open. I actually have my blank canvas open. What I'm going to do is select all. So I could go to edit, select all, or I could do Control A, which selects everything, Control C, which copies everything I selected. Go over here, Control V, and it's asking me, do I want to make my canvas bigger or keep my canvas size? I want to keep my canvas size. Now, if I zoom out, my dollar bill is so much bigger than my canvas. I'm just going to take it and make it smaller. I'm going to hold down the Shift key. While I do this, I'm going to make that dollar bill very small. Okay, and there I go. I have my dollar right there. Now, I don't like the white, so I'm going to press Control D to deselect, or I could go to Edit, Deselect. Notice all my keyboard shortcuts are here, so I have a lot of those memorized. I'm going to click on this white and delete it. Actually, I have to press Function Delete. And that way it gives me a transparent background. Now, another way to do that is, so I had my dollar bill selected. I could go over here, do New Layer, go back to my old layer, copy the dollar bill by doing Control C, pasting it into the new layer, Control V, and then deleting that background layer that has the white, and there we go. Now I have a transparent background. That's what this checkers means. So now I'm going to go to File, Save As. I'm going to go to my resource packs, find my resource pack, go to Textures, and then in the vanilla, you have to follow the same folder pattern. So in the vanilla resource pack, when I go into Textures, it has something called Items. I click on that, and there are my items. So here I'm going to right-click, do a new folder, call it Textures, go into there, and I'm going to call this $, and make sure it's a .png. I'm going to press Save, press OK, go back to Visual Studio Code. I need to make sure everything is saved. Okay, it looks like it is. It is telling me that I have some errors, but I guess that's because it hasn't updated. I have a folder, texture inside of textures. That is not right. This is actually supposed to be called items, not textures. I'm not going to delete that mistake because I want you guys to see that everybody makes mistakes. There we go. Under there, I have $. So that should be updating soon. That should be fine. Let me do a change. Here, I'll just throw space in there. Yeah, see? No errors. Okay. Now this thing should show up in game. So let me go to Minecraft. I'm going to go to Play, Create New World. I'm going to put it in Creative just to test it, and go to Behavior Pack. My first add-on, Activate. Okay, it has my first pack over here as well, so we know that worked. I'm going to press Create. Okay, and then I'm going to type give @s or @p. I need my namespace, my first pack, and then $. There it is. Boom, and it shows up in my hand. It's $. It looks good. I'm going to press Function, see how it looks here. Okay, now I actually don't like, some people might like the look of it like this. I actually don't. I'd prefer it to look kind of a little more diagonal like I had in the intro of the video. So what I'm going to do is escape out of this world, go to paint.net again, and simply I'm going to rotate this. There we go. Now you'll notice some of these are transparent. They'll either choose full transparency or not. I like the look of this just fine. again, you get to do you. I'm going to do file save. Okay, apparently I have to do file save as again because I changed the folder name. Going to com.mojang, resource packs, my first add-on, textures, items. There we go. Save. It's going to ask me if I want to replace. I say yes. Now, please note that I have this pointing the same direction a sword would point. That's just a good rule of thumb. Always point it kind of up to the top right. All right, I'm going to go into my world again. It already has my packs on it, so I don't need to worry about creating a new world. And there we go. Now I have my dollar, and I actually like the way it looks like this. So, I want to give myself lots of dollars. Give at P MFP dollar 64. There we go. Now I have tons of dollars. I can throw them around anywhere I want, make it rain. Okay, now for this dollar, we do have a problem. Look at the name. So we need to change that. Let's make sure it shows up in our creative category though. So we put it in items, so it should be in here. Yep, showed up fine. It's just the name that's off. So the name, if we go back here to Visual Studio Code, the name needs to be under a folder called texts. So we're going to go copy that from our vanilla packs. So vanilla resource pack over here. We're going to go over here to texts. And you'll notice all the languages that Minecraft has. We are going to copy or click and drag English US. I'm going to take that and click and drag it over into texts. Now, this is a huge file. It's pretty self-explanatory how to do this. All you have to do is kind of scroll down until you see items. Actually, it has every single text that is in Minecraft is in this file. It's huge. They are in alphabetical order, so that helps. But basically, we have item dot whatever the thing is dot name equals and then whatever we want it to be. So we can actually Control A and delete all of this and do item dot MFP dollar, because that is our identifier. Do name equals, we'll call it dollar. And we're going to save that. And that should have worked. We do have to reload our world, so we're going to save and quit. Go to my world. And boom, it is now called dollar. Even in our creative menu, it is called dollar. So everything works great. Now, I do want to say one thing, and that is I would like you to try this on your own. Try making your own item. In the next series, we are going to be doing some recipes with a dollar, and we are going to try and break it down into quarters and vice versa. 4 quarters equals $1, and $1 equals 4 quarters on the crafting table or in your hand. So if you want to practice, you can practice making quarters. And let's go ahead and wrap this up by saving some of our templates. So I'm going to go ahead and close this and close this, closing out of everything I don't need anymore. And now let me open. So I'm going to right click here. So what I'm going to do is over here in my templates, I'm going to make a template. I'm going to go to folder and I'm going to call this items. And inside of this items, I'm going to go over here, do new folder. I'm going to call this 1.10 items because that is what we just did. And then in 1.10 items, I'm going to drag all my files over here that I just made. But I just want to show you guys one more thing. I won't have you watch that. I'm going to create a text document, and it's going to be called the README. And inside of here, I'm just going to leave myself some notes. And by leaving myself these notes, that way I don't have to go back and look up tutorials all the time. I can just go back and read my own notes and study this content. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode on how to make your own item. We will be doing recipes next time. And as always, thanks for watching.